everybody, it's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, June 30th, 2019. That Chelsea Lawson has got some timing, I tell ya. I've been waiting for weeks for her to pop around some corner in Genoa City, pop out of a bush or something, and then here she is on Friday walking in to Nick and Adam's office right as they were getting ready to whip off their shirts and fight each other. Okay, maybe that was just in my imagination. Adam did try to whip off his suit jacket so that he could get more loose for the fight, but it's possible that I just imagined that the way that story would have gone would have been that both of the guys took off their shirts and started fighting. Only in my dreams. I think there is just something about this Adam that makes me think he has this weird sexual chemistry with everybody he's on screen with. It almost seems that anybody he's sharing a scene with, he could fight with them and or make love with them at the exact same time. What was with that moment on Friday where Adam kind of touched Kevin's hand? Did you guys catch this? These guys can't really stand each other, and Adam goes in and touches Kevin's hand. That probably set some corner of the internet on fire right there. I've been thinking, to be honest with you, that Kevin and Adam have this weird dominant and submissive thing going on. And that solidified it there. It's kind of that way with everyone and Adam, I think. Adam is the dominant and everyone else better be submissive. That's just who he is. And I don't think that Chelsea being in town now is going to do much to change that. I don't even know how long Chelsea is going to be around for. Is she going to be full-time on the show, or is she just popping in to move along the plot? I'm not sure. Judging from that summer preview that was playing before several of the episodes this week, it seems like Chelsea is going to try to convince Adam to back away from her and probably to back away from Nick and the custody case too. I feel like I say this every week, but I am still feeling it. I think Y&R could be doing so much better of a job with this custody story. All they would have had to do was build up for maybe 2 weeks, showing Adam trying to have a relationship with Christian, maybe popping up or trying to pop up at a couple of these T-ball games. And if they would have done that, I think the viewers would have been so much more split. All they had to do was tug on our heartstrings a little, and I feel like we would really have something to argue about when it comes to Adam versus Nick for custody of the child. And instead, to me, the custody case is coming off more like a business acquisition for Adam. Adam was able to coerce Kevin into finding some dirty dirt on Nick that would make him look bad in the eyes of the judge. And the piece of dirt that Kevin ended up turning up was video footage of Nick when he was masquerading as JT. Conveniently, there's video footage of Nick pulling back the mask to reveal that he was impersonating JT. I'm not exactly sure what the big deal about that is to anybody else outside of the Newman family. Why would this video cause a judge and also apparently the court of public opinion, to turn on Nick so harshly that after seeing this video, Nick would be completely unable to retain custody of Christian. It doesn't totally click with me. Nick could literally just say, it was a costume, it was a practical joke, you're looking at it out of context. And then wouldn't that all be gone? I don't know. I don't even understand why that video footage exists in the first place. It was a darkened alleyway. Why was there a video camera in it in the first place? The whole reason for meeting in a darkened alleyway should be because there's no one around to see anything. Did Nick set up the video camera and that's why he had a copy of that footage in the first place? Or was this some liquor store owner's back alleyway private cam? Either way, it doesn't seem like quite the big bombshell that Adam seems to think it is, not to me anyway. And also, Nick sent Ray back to Las Vegas to continue to look for some dirt on Adam that he can use as ammo in this custody case. So Ray's headed back to Vegas, but he is going to have his attention split. Sharon is going to be tagging along behind him. She's probably hoping that they're going to find themselves in a little bit of danger or something so that it will light a fire for their lovemaking. Boy, did Phyllis have Sharon's number on Friday's show or what? Gee, Sharon, Phyllis says, it must be really hard for you loving Adam and yet fearing him at the same time. And then going back to your devoted detective at home and pretending like that bad boy doesn't make you feel so alive. Okay, you nailed it in one. Phyllis nailed it in one shot. That's exactly it. And Sharon ran back home to Ray and, you know, just trying to light that fire. She also ran into Adam directly after that conversation with Phyllis, and Adam was again telling her to stay away from him. It's the equivalent of the bad boy saying, just stay away from me, baby. I'm too bad for you. It's impossible to resist. You know that that is only making Sharon want Adam more. And it is also going to cause her to throw herself into the relationship with Ray even more, which is quite a shame because I think that Ray and Sharon make a really good team, and I'm looking forward to seeing them together in Las Vegas next week. It should be good. I'm gonna guess that it's not gonna be too hard for Sharon and Ray to uncover the exact same stone that Phyllis uncovered earlier in the week. That's right, Phyllis reveals to us this week that Adam has a connection to, dun dun dun, Chance Chancellor. I guess this is supposed to blow my mind. I mean, it has potential to be good, but don't we have enough presumed dead characters returning to the canvas of Y&R right now? And of all of the characters to bring back onto the canvas, I have to admit, Chance is not the most exciting in my mind. He was a little bit of a milquetoast, good guy, little bit bland, but I suppose if he's been cohorting with Adam, then maybe he will come back as a bad boy and be a little bit more interesting. According to his the wiki on Chance Chancellor, because I had to look it up, by the way. I had to go to the Wikipedia to get a memory refresh because Chance wasn't all that memorable to me personally, but I read and confirmed that Chance did fake his own death with the help of the FBI, and then he went in to the witness protection program, and that was the last that we ever saw of him. Now apparently he's coming back again, I guess? Or is this just a name drop? Are we actually going to see Chance again? I haven't seen any casting updates that indicate that we're actually going to see the actor, and if we do see an actor, will it be John Driscoll, the actor who last played him? I don't know. And here's a long shot of a theory that someone mentioned weeks ago, and I think is a possibility. Is there any chance that Chance is the new man that Chelsea is married to? Chelsea does like a bad boy, and maybe new Chance will be a bad boy. And from the previews that we saw of our show for next week, it sounds like Chelsea is not going to be all too anxious to return to Adam anytime soon. When Phyllis showed up at Adam's penthouse, ready to drop the big bomb about his connection to Chance Chancellor, the meeting then took a weird turn. Phyllis was all, "I know you're the one who kidnapped me, Adam, and I'm gonna bring you down." But then Adam offered her a glass of wine and a job running Dark Horse, being the CEO of Nick's company, with a hefty salary coming right along with it. And Phyllis's attitude turned around completely. I guess a little quid pro quo was right up her alley. She is taking the job, and she is looking very comfortable in the CEO chair. I do think it's promising to think about how Phyllis and Michael will be interacting on this from here on out. Phyllis is now strangely Team Adam. She thinks the man kidnapped her and held her hostage, stuck a needle in her neck to knock her out, and she's Team Adam now. Whereas Michael is firmly on Team Anti-Adam. Michael has officially put his black hat back on, even told Kevin that he's working on a way to stop Adam and his reign of terror. Michael goes to Dark Horse looking for Adam, and he finds Phyllis sitting there in that big chair instead, and he tries to reach out to her. Phyllis is a longtime friend. He tries to warn her about being involved with Adam, but Phyllis isn't hearing it. Phyllis is loving the view from the top. She has no plans of giving up that chair. And I do wonder what this is going to do to Phyllis and Michael's relationship. I wonder what Phyllis is going to have to say when she figures out that it was Kevin who kidnapped her and that Michael knew all about it. Nick's life has really taken a downward turn. He should be pretty down in the dumps right now. He's keeping pretty positive considering. There's some bad stuff going on in Nick's life. Phyllis stopped by to see him, and he told her right away that he knows Phyllis helped Adam buy Dark Horse out from under him, and it was an interesting conversation because she denied it. For as much as she was hell-bent on getting revenge and Nick became one of her targets, I would have thought maybe she would have wanted to take responsibility for it. But not only does she deny helping Adam, but she also denies that she had any idea that Adam was planning to use Dark Horse and that acquisition as a way to get leverage for custody of Christian. Phyllis had this look on her face when Nick suggested that, like she was truly hurt that he would think that of her, but it's all true. Phyllis knew what Adam was planning. She followed his orders willingly. I mean, she completely knew the score, so I don't know why she seemed so hurt. She also seemed really hurt that Summer didn't leap right back onto her team. After everything that went down right before she left town, Summer was not happy to find out that her mom was perfectly well living, having a little hooping it up in Las Vegas, while Summer was terrified for her, not knowing what had happened to her, assuming that she had been missing, had called the police. Yes, Phyllis sent a text message, but it was 1 day prior. I mean, after everything that Phyllis pulled right before she disappeared, it made sense to me that Summer's just looking at Phyllis thinking, this is the spiteful woman who doesn't even care enough about me to let me know that she's okay. She's my mother. I thought we'd buried this hatchet. So Summer just storms off, just says she's done with Phyllis. Why didn't Phyllis just tell Summer that she had been kidnapped? That's what I'm trying to figure out, because Phyllis was taking the hit for something that actually was beyond her control. Maybe, I'm not sure, Phyllis thinks that she's done enough damage to Summer or had enough problems in that relationship that she didn't want to rock the boat any further. I'm not sure. It would have been better for Phyllis to just tell Summer that she'd been kidnapped or that something bad went down, but instead Phyllis let herself look like the bad guy in Summer's eyes. That was a good episode though, because right as that parental bond between Summer and Phyllis was starting to break, in the same episode we actually saw Nick and Victor reconnecting. They were reestablishing that parental bond. I could not believe that it was happening. Victor stops by Nick's house and the words, "I was wrong," actually passed through Victor Newman's lips. It took him nearly a year to admit that he was wrong for trying to take Christian away from Nick, that he was wrong for trying to forge a relationship between Adam and Christian so soon. Victor was apologizing for all of that, and even beyond all of that, it was apologizing to Nick for the myriad of fatherly failures that he's had over the years. The scene nearly choked me up. It was incredibly sad. Victor asked Nick for his forgiveness, and there was this wonderful moment where Nick said he realized, as soon as Victor was apologizing to him, that he's actually already forgiven him. Oh, cue the tears. Cue Christian with the dinosaurs. Nick turned down Victoria's request from last week to become the COO of Newman Enterprises. Said he appreciated the offer, but he has his own plans for dealing with Adam. He also doesn't need a pesky job right now to deter him from any of that. And shortly after that, Victoria goes back to work and Adam pays her a visit in her big chair. And Adam was very happy to remind Victoria that she's only sitting there because he turned down the position. He even said something like, "Some people like you are perfectly happy to just have the appearance of power." And I think that really got up under her skin, because Victor is the one who's still pulling the strings. Adam knows that. He's not wrong about it. I think Victoria knows it too. It's just a matter of how incapacitated Victor is going to become. Nate brings Victor some really bad news this week, tells him and us that the medical treatments are not working. They are going to have to try to do something new and experimental, but it's going to have a side effect, potentially, of diminishing Victor's mental capacity. I don't like the sound of this. Number one, I don't want to see Victor in a state of diminished mental capacity. And number two, it makes me very nervous that someone like Adam might find a way of taking advantage of that diminished mental capacity. That's gotta be a clue. Diminished mental capacity has got to be a clue to some future plot twist that is coming down the pike. And I guess it all boils down to whether or not I think that Adam is changing and maybe potentially wanting to forge a relationship with his father, or if he's just waiting for his time to strike. Adam did show a little bit of that humanity that I've been looking for this week when he went to check on Victor to make sure that Victor was doing okay. Adam actually seemed concerned about Victor's medical condition. He even encouraged Victor to not hover over Victoria, to trust her, to let her have the authority. Very suspicious, though. It was suspicious to me. I think it was suspicious to Victor. Victor was punching away on his heavy bag, reminding me of my early days watching Y&R. I thought Victor looked really good, too. He was giving me the appearance of being strong. He was just wah-wahing away on his heavy bag, and Adam was talking at him, and when Victor was done listening, he just stood up, got right close into Adam's face, told him that he doesn't believe him. Victor doesn't believe a word of the concern that's coming out of Adam's mouth, and that once more, he knows his son. Victor knows his son, realizes that he's posturing right now, and also knows that he's a little afraid right now. It was a very interesting and almost haunting conversation between them. Victor pointed out about how Adam always has this way of finding somebody else to do his dirty work. Remember when he was conspiring with Jack Abbott? Remember Chance Chancellor? Oh, you didn't think that I knew about that, did you? Adam's face went cold when Victor mentioned Chance. I guess we should always know that the one person who might have a leg up on Adam should always be Victor. I mean, Victor's the master. Adam is just the student. Adam was it was such a master student moment because Adam was offended and scared that his father had his number, and he tried to give that heavy bag a little punch and then walked out on him, tried to walk out the door, and Victor just laughed in his face as he was leaving. It almost seemed like an impromptu thing by Eric Braeden, because I was watching Mark Grossman too as he turned around and saw that Victor was just laughing at him, and it just had this look of I wasn't expecting that, and his face just changed, and he tried to do a little laugh too, but it showed who was the master. That scene showed us that Adam is still the student, or the punk. I'm also pretty sure that Victor muttered the word punk under his breath when he went right on back to punching that punching bag, probably pretending that it was Adam's face. We got a good first start at showing a more meaningful Adam in that scene with Victor, and also when Adam came face to face again with Chloe. Oh, Chloe, seeing the pain and the hatred in her eyes just took me right back. And then seeing Adam take a moment to just sit down on that hotel room bed and retell the story of what happened that night from his perspective, the night that Delia was killed, the decisions that were made. It all reminded me instantly of how deep that well of complex emotions really is. And for Chloe's part, she can and probably will spend the rest of her life hating Adam, trying to find a way to put him in the ground and dance on his grave. I mean, she described herself as feeling like she's only ever going to be half a mother to her other daughter, Bella, because the other half is just consumed with those feelings that have been untempered by time. None of the pain has gone away for her, and in some ways it seems like it's only gotten deeper. But Adam had this really great moment where he told Chloe, I don't want to be responsible for you losing another child. If you kill me, fine, but you'll just be losing another child, and a child will be losing her mom. I don't want that. I think what you need to do is go home to your child. Leave me here. Leave my captivity. I set you free. I won't tell anyone that you're still alive. I think I owe you that much. Which is funny. It is a good start, Adam. You probably didn't need to hold her hostage in a hotel room for weeks on end to get to the part where you reconciled with her and told her that you owe her that much, but we'll take it. It was a very strangely tender moment between them. It was a very honest moment between them. I just so desperately wish, though, that Chloe and Billy's individual stories didn't always have to be about Delia's death. I mean, I'm not trying to take away from how big of a moment that was in their lives and how deeply they must have been affected by the loss of their child, but as a viewer, I'm just so tired of it. I wish that we could at least see Billy's relationship with Adam evolve into something different, since Billy is on the show full-time and now Adam is on the show full-time. Chloe's not on all the time, so it's fine to bring her back with a little bit of that vengeance, but it's just exhausting after a while for two main characters to never get past a certain point of their relationship. I guess it felt that way a lot of times, even with Victor and Jack and their rivalries. At a certain point, the rivalry has to hit a breaking point, but now here we are with Billy and Adam, and Billy had given Adam his forgiveness before. And we're just right back to square one with it. I think it's only going to get worse too. It's only going to get bigger. Chloe sends Billy this anonymous message to meet her at Delia's graveside. And I actually really think that Billy's reaction to learning that Chloe was still alive was really good and really nuanced with Jason Thompson. It's probably a reaction that I could see myself having. I mean, Esther's reaction when she found out that her daughter was still alive was big, and just thought, oh my gosh, and she was just overcome with her love and her grief. I mean, just it exploded out of Esther, whereas Billy just looked up at Chloe and then sat down on the bench by Delia's graveside, and he put his head in his hands like, I can't be seeing this. This is not happening right now. I need to pull myself together. I'm seeing a dead woman. And then he just looked up at her and saw her for the first time with his own two raw eyes. She explained to him what had happened, that she tried to kill Adam and that Adam had been holding her hostage. It just set Billy off like a snap. Billy wanted to hunt Adam down immediately and kill him. But Chloe stopped him. She tells Billy, that's not what I want you to do. The only reason I am revealing any of this to you is because I need a favor from you. I need you to keep an eye on Kevin right now. Because Adam is still manipulating Kevin. Adam is ever moving the finish line further away from Kevin. Kevin completes a task, thinks that he's going to be done with Adam, and then Adam changes where the finish line is. And this time, Kevin thought the finish line was exchanging the info about Nick for Chloe's release, and Adam changes that. Tells Kevin that he still has to stick around town. And Kevin makes up some excuse about why Chloe, now that she's free, should just go back to Genoa City without him, raise their daughter, but he needs to stay a little bit longer to help Michael out with some business that he doesn't say exactly what it is. And Chloe knows Kevin. She doesn't buy it one bit. She knows something more is going on. She knows that he's wrapped up in something with Adam, but she also knows that she can't change it. So she goes to Billy, asking Billy to keep an eye on Kevin and make sure that Kevin comes home safe to her. But Billy, he's got anger issues. Billy agrees to Chloe's face, but then he goes right home and pulls a gun that's been stashed in the Abbott living room bureau out, and he's like holding it, thinking about who knows what. Billy and the gun. Billy's anger toward Adam plus a gun, rinse and repeat. We have been here before. We've already seen Billy go down this road with Adam, literally held him at gunpoint while driving down the road. And now here we are again. And I ask you, number one, why do all roads have to lead to Adam right now? And number two, why couldn't Billy's story have been something different? Something like opening up a boat shop or developing a dating app or something. Anything a little less deadly. Phyllis extends a shaky old plastic dusty olive branch to Jack. Brings him a gift basket of forgiveness. It was bizarre. The scene with Phyllis and Jack was bizarre. Jack definitely seemed thrown off by it, and later when Jack was telling Billy about it, Billy seemed infuriated by it. Who knows, maybe Billy's gonna go waving that gun around in Phyllis's face in Phyllis's office now. I don't know. But Jack did learn his lesson about gift baskets though, which is nice to know that he's evolving at least. Jack dug into that gift basket from Phyllis, looking immediately for some type of listening device. Not gonna fool Jack Abbott with that trick twice in a couple of months. But then he realizes it's not a trick and he just decides to dine on the contents of that gift basket with Lauren, who was as equally blown away by Phyllis stopping by and basically saying, she was stopping by not to say I'm sorry, but to say I forgive you. Okay, everybody's just weirded out by this particular attitude. But Lauren and Jack, they decided to dine on that gift basket. They shared a little wine, shared a little chocolate, and Jack updated us on the situation with Mallory, that they have gone on another date and that things are moving forward with them, even if we're not seeing it on screen. If we're not seeing it on screen though, that makes me think that this relationship of Jack's is not going to last long term. And meanwhile, Lauren still doesn't know about how Kevin kidnapped Phyllis and Michael helped cover it up. This week, Traci finished her book, and I really couldn't even tell you how the plot ended, but I can tell you that Kane kissed Traci for real. Yay! Go Traci! It was amazing. I really think this is probably my favorite thing that the new writing team has done. It was just so unexpected and yet so genuine and so real. It just feels real somehow. I really thought that Y&R was going to write the character of Cain off the show after Crystal Khalil went on to recurring status, and then the twins just went away, and then Neil died, and I just thought they were going to get rid of Cain, but here he is with a brand new, exciting story that's surrounded by a story. It's so exciting. Oh. As Traci was reading her book to Cain, he was just so enthralled and so impressed by her talent that any social norms of age or about like conventional attractiveness, all of that just faded away. And here were two people connecting with one another on a deeper level. And he kissed her, might I add. It wasn't her going after him and his buns. He kissed her, not she kissed him. And I didn't even see it coming. Cain wasn't really giving any signs of returning her feelings for the last couple of weeks. And then out of nowhere, he just kissed her. And no one ran away afterwards. There was not really even that much awkwardness afterwards. Traci played it off. She started talking about how she must have gotten carried away, but Cain just stood there smiling and politely agreeing. Like, he seemed totally sure of and okay with what he had just done. He even stuck around for a while afterwards. They were talking about the publishing process for her book and what the next steps are. They were kicking around a few more ideas, and Cain even suggested throwing a party in Traci's honor. Imagine that. A party for the woman who is always there, supporting everyone else, and finally, someone suggests giving her some attention and some accolades. My other favorite part of this story, aside from the kiss, is the fact that it is subtly occurring to both Jack and Billy that something more might be going on between Traci and Cain. Jack was watching Traci take a giddy phone call from Cain. I mean, Cain kissed her, hung around for a while afterwards, chatting, and then called her on the phone just a little while after he left the house. Is that lovey-dovey or what? Oh my goodness, and the look on Jack's face as he's watching his sister talking on the phone to a boy. Hot boy. It probably took Jack all the way back to high school. Ugh. And then we also had Cain sitting at the bar with Billy. Just a side note though, when did Billy and Cain become buds? Because they were buds, but then I thought that currently Billy was hating Cain for taking advantage of Victoria and kissing her while they weren't even together. So much so that Billy decided to go to visit Lily in prison and tell her all about it, effectively lighting the fuse that ended Cain's marriage, and now they're sitting there all chummy together having beers and bar pretzels. I don't know, that seemed a little off, but Cain's talking about Traci to Billy, talking about things that are going on in her life and her book, and Billy has to be sitting there realizing, this guy seems to know an awful lot about what's going on with my sister right now. What do you think that Jack and Billy's reactions will be if a full-fledged relationship between Cain and Traci develops? Do you think that Jack and Billy are going to want to support Traci's happiness, or will they go on a tirade thinking that Cain is not good enough for her? Summer crashes Lola's bridal shower, but in the nicest possible way. Summer just breezed right on past that giant sign out front of society saying that the place was closed for a private party. Summer just ignored it, walked right on into the shower, stood there with a pouty look on her face as if Lola owed an invitation to her, to Kyle's ex-wife. Abby was ready to throw Summer out on her ear, but Lola stepped in and said that she wanted Summer to feel welcome. So obviously Lola still feels indebted to Summer on some level. And Summer just stood there at the bar by herself having drinks. She even made some kind of snide comment to Lola about getting her liver's worth out of this party. I don't understand why Summer would even be there at all. I'm asking myself, why would you put yourself through that? Why stand there and accept all of the slings and arrows and the onslaught of eyeball daggers from Abby and everybody else who was legitimately invited to the party? Why purposely make everyone, including yourself, feel uncomfortable? I guess Summer saw it as a test. That's the only thing I can think of, that she's testing Lola, because she crashed the party and then stood there in front of everyone to tell Lola that the reason she actually came to the party was to let Lola know that she wants to learn to coexist with her. She wants to get along with her. Well, you could have fooled me, and you could have also said that privately, not at Lola's party, making everyone uncomfortable. You could have done that without all of this extra fanfare and drama. I don't think Summer really wants to be friends with Lola at all, or doesn't want to coexist with Lola at all. I think maybe actually she just wanted to go, and maybe she caught wind of and decided to just go so that she could partake in the shirtless man part of the shower. I laughed when Lola's mom showed up, and that's what she called it. Oh, honey, it's so nice that your friends have thrown you this shirtless man shower. Shirtless man shower makes it sound like there are shirtless men raining from the sky. It's raining men is what it sounds like to me. I don't think that anyone, including Mrs. Rosales, would have had any problem with that whatsoever. Everyone seemed to really enjoy the shirtless men. It was funny to me that here I am assuming that 2/3 of the attendees of this party are lesbians. I've been talking for weeks about the emerging triangle between Tessa and Mariah and Anna, but first of all, Tessa was immediately all about it. Tessa was like, hey, I can acknowledge all of this hotness. I mean, she dated Noah, so Tessa, I think she can swing both ways. And then Anna was giggling at one of the shirtless guys like a school girl. I guess that puts to rest my theory that Anna is pining over Tessa. I mean, she was absolutely taken with the shirtless man. She could not even control herself. That's how attracted to men she is. So there goes my theory. I have another theory, though, that I really think is going to be correct, because Theo, on the guy's side, offered to throw Kyle a bachelor party. And Kyle reluctantly agrees, but the second that Theo hooks back up with Summer, he's going on and on about how boring and stale Kyle has become. How much you want to bet that Theo is going to throw Kyle some big, wild bachelor party that's going to end up ticking Lola off in one way or another? Elena helps Devon through his panic attack, and then he completely downplays the fact that it happened. He refused to admit that it had anything to do with Hilary, which we know is a lie, and he called the whole thing a rare event, which we also know is a lie. We've seen it happen several times now. Elena tells Anna about the newest panic attack, and Anna was coming home that night to make peace with Devon. She starts to question him about it, and she ends up getting him to admit that he stopped taking his medication because he felt that it was numbing him to the emotions that he thought he should be having. That part is so understandable to me. What I'm having a little bit of trouble understanding is how quickly everything became about Hilary this week. Suddenly, Elena has started talking about how she feels like there are 3 people in their relationship, and Anna called Devon's house a shrine to Hilary. I never got that impression before. It was pointed out that there were a bunch of pictures of Hilary in the apartment this week, but I swear those weren't even there before. There were a couple of pictures of the family, but all of a sudden in the bookcases, there was just tons of pictures of Hilary. It just feels like it's come out of nowhere. And then suddenly we're learning that the man has an entire collection of GC Buzz episodes that he watches regularly so that he can feel that Hilary is still there. She's still with him, like it's just an average day and he's watching her on his TV. But then when he realizes that she's gone after he's watched them, he gets this panic attack. I didn't know it was that severe. When is this happening? I've been thinking that Devon seemed totally with it, totally together, doing good under the circumstances, seeming healthy, and now all of a sudden he's not. I don't know. I'm very surprised that the story just became about Hilary so quickly. Let's make a poll question out of this week. Do you think that it's time for Devon to move on from Hilary? Does he need to be packing up her things? Is this something that's going to help heal him? YRChat.com. Let's weigh in on the newest campaign to get Devon to move forward with his life. That's what it seems like to me. It seems like a campaign to get Devon to move on. It seems like to me that the theme of the week is traveling backwards. Haven't we already seen this story with Devon though? Like Anna and Nate are surrounding him and hounding him to move on, hounding him to see his therapist and take his meds. And I don't know, I said it then and I'm saying it now. I believe that Nate and Anna love Devon and they want what's best for him, but also who are they to say when it's time for him to move on? I don't know. We've been here before. It's just more severe now, I guess. At the end of Friday's show, we had Devon trying to pack up some of Hilary's things and then being unable to do it and walking out of the apartment. I don't think he's ultimately ever going to finish. I wonder if Devon is going to just decide to move out of his condo in order to get a fresh start, if that's what he wants. I mean, why not? Maybe Adam can buy both penthouses. Why not? Everybody is the hero of their own story. I love that line. That was last week, said by Sharon. She was talking to Adam when she confronted him at the TAC house, talking about how he is rationalizing taking custody of Christian away from Nick because he thinks he's the hero of his story. Meanwhile, everyone else sees him as the villain of the story. I just love that line because I think it's probably true. Even the people who you may think in life are the villains, in their minds, they're the hero. It's just such a fun little complex. Let's see, 8 of you guys guessed that it was Sharon who had that line, so congratulations, Keisha, Henry, T. Nicole, Jamie, Bon, Jennifer, Justin, and Ambreen. You guys all guessed it right. How about a new quote? What do you say? Let's try this one. I kind of like it. Here we go. Anger rots you from the inside. Forgiveness is good for the soul. Anger rots you from the inside. Forgiveness is good for the soul. Who said it? If you think you know, head on over to yrchat.com to leave your guess, and if you get it right, then you too will get your shout out on next week's Y&R Chat. Okay, let's read some comments. Starting out with Jamie, who says, okay, am I a traitor for loving Michelle Stafford's version of Phyllis again? I adore Gina Tognoni, but the sizzle, the chemistry that she has with Michael and Nick and Adam. Oh yes, Jamie, I never expected to love this version of Phyllis again, and yet here I am too. I love Gina, but I gotta admit, Michelle is killing it. That woman is a star. I just hope it doesn't get overused. Please don't let it get overused, because she is really bringing some nice new flavor and sizzle, as you say, to the show. Gary weighing in says, you know, Gina fans would have to admit that she's really just not a villain. Sharon and Phyllis as Michelle Stafford meeting again. You can see how much Sharon has to play off of with that big head and that villainous working of her face and all of the theatrics. Now there's a bad girl. The scene between Phyllis and Sharon was so good, and I was immediately reminded of that rivalrous dynamic between Sharon and Michelle Stafford's Phyllis, and it was very good. I think, you know, I'm a fan of Gina's portrayal as well. I think it's just that it's two different versions of the character, and you can appreciate things about one version and appreciate other things about the other version. It's kind of like the different versions of Adam. There is much to be said about all of the versions of that character, including this one. They're just all a little different. Superplex says, why hasn't the police arrested Chelsea yet? Didn't she steal money from Fenmore's? Or is Lauren too busy matchmaking to care about the money she lost? Good question. Chelsea's on the run. If she can't really walk around free in Genoa City. Well, then again, I guess, yes, she can. Because as I know Gary has pointed out, it's a little jarring that Victor just had any charges against Adam wiped away and he's just walking around free. It's probably going to be the exact same thing with Chelsea. But yeah, you make a good point. She's wanted. That's why she's been in hiding. And the question is, how's Y&R going to write that away? Daisy says, best scene of the week for me was Esther seeing Chloe. Tearjerker, to say the least. It was very sad. I don't know if I'd qualify that as my best scene of the week, but it was very sad and very happy at the same time. I was surprised. It felt a little rushed, maybe. And then I was surprised that Chloe didn't think of having Esther come along with her. Esther was begging kind of to go to Portland and be with her daughter. Like, you can't just drop a bomb on a mom. Like, hey mom, I know you thought I was dead, but I'm alive. No, you should stay here in Genoa City even though I have to go back to Portland. That's insane. As a mom, Chloe should know that Esther would want to be with her. Why would you think that you were going to tell her and then leave? I would have liked to have seen Chloe invite Esther to come along, but maybe it was a for Esther's own safety thing in Chloe's mind. Maybe it's that. Leanne says, the Adam and Chloe scene that I think finally won me over to this iteration of Adam's character. His words, his sincerity, and remorse melted my heart. I was not expecting that kind of civil conversation between the two of them. Bravo, Y&R. I know when Adam walked into the hotel room, he looked at Chloe and said, don't get it twisted. I know that you would kill me right now if you had an opportunity. And he decided instead to sit down and actually have a, as you say, civil conversation with her. And he tried to explain where he was in his process of grief over what had happened. It was a good scene. It takes so little. Y&R should have been doing this all along. I think a lot of people enjoyed that scene, including Bond, who says, the Adam and Chloe scenes finally gave us the nuance of this Adam. It was short, yet it felt authentic and truthful. His comment on how Chloe's motivation is still motherly as opposed to him, which he can't quite still figure out. It's so realistic to me as well. Also, yay for Adam on being decent enough to hide Chloe in a cozy room and treat her as a person, contrary to how Kevin treated Phyllis. Yes, when he said that though about, I understand your motivation. Your hatred is motivated by a mother's love. What's my excuse? See, that's what we were asking for, Y&R, and they gave it to us. Yeah, also I noticed that Chloe's hotel room was very nice. They even had an apple sitting on a plate at her bedside, which is a heck of a lot more than Phyllis had. She had a dirty mattress and a dirty wash tub basin thing. At least she had running water. I guess that's the difference between when you have Adam's 50 million versus when you probably don't have that much money for Kevin. Kevin wasn't able to bankroll a nice room for his hostage. Superplex says, I think the writers wanted to depict Adam as bad just to execute a 180-degree transformation and make him a sympathetic character once again. It will probably have something to do with his blood being the only next of kin that will have the potential to save Victor's life. Yes, I think you're right on both fronts, Superplex. I think that we're supposed to kind of hate Adam and question what he's doing, so that when he starts to have these turns, that's when we're supposed to jump on board with him. No doubt, and I think you're right. I think especially after that scene where Adam went in and tried to check on Victor and his health condition, I think that is also a signal to us that Adam's going to play some sort of role in bringing Victor back to health. Maybe he'll have some kind of choice. Do I give my blood or give my tissue or whatever to Victor to save his life, or do I take advantage of his diminished mental capacity? Maybe that will be his choice. Maybe that will be his redemption. Laura says that scene with Victor and Nick was a scene to record and watch over and over. It's a scene for the ages. Every time Eric Braeden cries, oh, it just gets me. It was great. And I said this at the website too. It's like, why does it take a health crisis in order to get those kind of tearjerker moments out of Victor? It's all I want from him, a little bit of tenderness. I just wish it wasn't taking a health crisis to get us there, because it is so good. When Eric Braeden cries, it makes me cry on contact. Jamie says, boxing Victor. I know how much you love Victor, Allie, and I'm right here with you. When he was boxing, but then he was also weak, and he was putting on that front with Adam, and then Adam closed the door, and then he was weak when the door closed. Yes! I know. I liked the boxing scene so much. I sort of shut out and pretended like the weakness part wasn't happening because I don't want to see it. But yeah, the second Adam closed the door, Victor let off some of that front that he was trying to put up with Adam, and we can see that he is struggling. Oh, here's a good little potential prediction from Leslie. Leslie says Adam's reason for turning down Victor's offer to make him CEO and encouraging him to appoint Victoria was all because he perceives Victoria as weak and plans to buy out Newman. Do Victor's grandchildren, in particular Christian and Connor, have shares in Newman, with parents having voting rights? Oh, this is great, Leslie. I think you're busting open this whole storyline right here. I think that I kept asking myself, why is Adam encouraging Victor to leave Victoria in charge? It seemed it's so odd considering he was just rubbing it in Victoria's face that she wasn't really in control. And then he goes to Victor and encourages it. I mean, the skeptical mind, I suppose, can say, yeah, he's trying to leave Victoria in charge because he knows that he can beat her. And if what he wants is to take over complete control of Newman Enterprises in every way, then that's a way to do it. Adam said to Victoria, some people are fine with the illusion of control. That indicates to me that Adam wants complete control, and a great way to do that would be to leave Victoria where she is, let her think she's running the show, let her think that Adam's not a threat, and then turn around and strike while Victor is sick and in his diminished mental capacity. I don't know if he would need voting shares from the children. He could potentially get Victor to sign something over. I mean, you never know. The whole diminished mental capacity thing is a huge red flag. That means something's gonna happen with Victor's company. Maybe Adam will steal it. We'll see. Let's talk about Chance. Sandra says, I don't know about Chancellor. I wasn't watching Y&R steadily back when he was on, and I'm not familiar with his history. How old would he be now? Do the Y&R chatters think he could be a love interest for anyone currently on the show? Do you think that the writers will actually bring him back or just reference him in dialogue? I laughed when I heard his name because my 3-year-old Labrador is named Chance. That's adorable. I love that. Hi, Chance. Woof, woof. Chance, I think, would be in his 30s, so which means he'd be a perfect match for Traci. Oh, yeah, I remember him being involved with Chloe specifically. Was he involved with Chelsea too? I can't remember. Yeah, I didn't feel super moved by Chance, but that doesn't mean that they can't bring him back and give us a little something different and more compelling. Chance Chancellor is just such a weird name. His name is Philip Chancellor the Fourth. But I mean, like Chance is a nickname for his last name. It's weird that they would put that together. Maybe they just said that. Maybe Phyllis just said that, and Victor just said that too, as a cue to the viewers of who the guy is. But Chance Chancellor is a weird name for a human. Fun name for a dog, but weird name for a human. Chance is like your nickname if you're a guy. That's what goes on the back of your football jersey, but his name should be Philip. I don't know. I'm just being picky. Diana says he was also involved with Phyllis romantically. I don't remember that at all. Chance was involved with Phyllis romantically? Well, then that would make sense that she was able to get onto that trail in Vegas, and maybe she'll be the one to reach out to him first. I don't remember that at all. See, and the other thing is too, I just don't know if we're actually getting Chance. I have seen no casting notices of this guy or anybody else playing that role. Gary says, I liked Chance as he was precious to his mother Nina. He was appealing but not developed, blowing his Y&R life up quickly so that he had to spend the rest of it in witness protection beside Dylan McAvoy. Yes, it's true. Chance wasn't really on the show all that long, and he was just kind of there as a stint of one of our hunky men alongside Ronan, the sex wolf. You know, I loved Ronan. If they were going to bring back one of Nina's sons, not going to lie, I wish it was Ronan with Jeff Branson. But yeah, Chance wasn't really there all that long. And I think maybe, if anything, I liked him because I liked Nina. Marianne says, if Chance is returning, does this mean that Nina Webster will follow? She's like Traci in that she's a writer. Maybe they could compete for that best sellers listing. Ooh, that would be fun for me. Nina and Traci on the show at the same time. Competitive writing to become the New York Times, the Genoa City Chronicle's best seller. That's great. Leslie says, now that I refreshed my memory on Chance, I'm excited, but I hope it's a recast. I read that Penn Badgley was the last child actor to play him, and he would be awesome, but probably too established to go back to daytime. Check out a pic. Okay, well, I did that. I did check out Penn Badgley. He was very attractive. That would be wonderful, I think, if we got a recast. John Driscoll was fine, but John Driscoll was, he was just always giving me cop. You know, it was hard to see him as anything but cop. And if they're going to make Chance more interesting, he's got to have a little bit of a bad streak, right? I don't know, Ray is pulling off cop for me right now, but Chance he came off as a little more straight arrow, which is to me a little bit more boring. But maybe they will recast the character, give us something different, give us something better. I'm all for a recast. Superplex thinks that Chance might be a bad guy now, or at least a nefarious guy, saying Adam and Chance did something illegal. No doubt something involving the queen of the Las Vegas scene or the woman known as Riza. Remember, she was featured on a headline with the accompanying article stating that the FBI had her under investigation. Maybe uncovering the trio's felonious activities is what got Phyllis and Kevin so ecstatic in that preview commercial. This is good, Superplex, because yes, that whole newspaper article said something about the FBI investigating that ring. And now here we have Adam and Chance together. Chance was FBI. So I wonder if Chance could be investigating Adam, good guy, or if he was betraying his FBI training and he was being a bad guy and maybe getting in on some of that little extra money or something. But the FBI connection, I think you're right. I think that Phyllis and probably Ray too next week are going to uncover whatever that connection is. I hope it's next week. I want to know. And then see, the thing is with Chelsea and Chloe's return, we did hear rumblings that the actors were coming back, and I haven't heard anything about any Chance coming onto the show. So I don't know. Let's shift over here and talk about Kyle and Summer and Lola. Bon asks, did I miss that Summer and Kyle's divorce is official? Because otherwise I can't imagine how Lola can be having a bridal shower and Kyle is making all of these wedding plans. No, I think you're right, Bon. I don't think that Y&R even addressed that. We need a scene, at least, of having Summer sign the divorce papers. That just went away. Maybe it was just implied, but it certainly wasn't expressed. I haven't heard anybody say for sure that Kyle and Summer's divorce actually went through. Are Kyle and Lola getting married soon? Because I really wasn't even expecting the whole bachelor bridal shower thing to happen already. I mean, it was 2 weeks ago, I think, that he proposed. And then last week she lost the ring. And then this week it's the parties. Is the wedding coming up this summer soon? And if so, they are going to have to circle back to his other wedding. I mean, it's been 3 months since his other wedding. So there's probably a waiting period or something in there even that Y&R's not acknowledging. Oh well. Well, I have a few really good comments here from Diana. Let's start out with this. It is not very realistic that Lola does not have a single friend or a cousin from back home that she's inviting to her wedding. She's a young person who's lived her entire life in Miami and only seems to have Abby and Mariah and Tessa as friends. It would be much more believable if Lola's mother showed up in town with a good friend of Lola's, or Y&R could have at least mentioned, or could have at least have Lola mention her friend and say that she's unable to come to town for some reason. Kyle has Theo from New York, where he used to live, so why not Lola? Little details like these help to make the characters feel like they're real people who had a life before coming to Genoa City. Yeah, no doubt. I don't have a role. The Rosales has talked about being in Miami and having this whole life, but it is a shame. I think that does make sense that she didn't have any girlfriends there at her bachelorette party. I was also trying to figure out, why is Anna there? But I guess they sort of run in the same circles. We'll find out. I liked Mrs. Rosales though. Celeste, she's beautiful. And she seemed like she was having fun. I think the expectation was that she was going to be a staunch mom at the party, and she actually had a little bit of personality, and she was able to let her hair down a little bit. So that was good. Diana also asked a really good question here. I don't understand why Abby is so resentful toward Summer, who's her niece. Shouldn't Abby be trying to make amends for sleeping with Summer's husband, Austin? The way Abby acts, you would think that it was Summer who betrayed Abby. Abby is always so angry with Summer. Abby does not act toward Summer like an aunt. Shouldn't an aunt be more loving and caring? You know, I hadn't thought about it, but it is darn true. They're related. I seem to be forgetting lately who's related and who's not related, but it's a very good point. What's the beef with Abby toward Summer? Is it mostly just about Kyle and Lola, or is there something else there in the backstory that I'm forgetting? Because as Diana mentions, it is in the backstory mostly a situation where Abby betrayed Summer. I don't know. Well, let's also say this from Diana. Is it bad that I would like to see Phyllis and Theo get it on at some point? They would be so hot and steamy together. It would also be karma on Summer for sleeping with her mother's boyfriend. Not that I think Phyllis should do that to her daughter, but for television purposes, it would be intriguing and obviously add a lot of drama. Perhaps Summer could do something else to Phyllis that makes the audience not have a lot of sympathy for Summer, or Phyllis could just find him too irresistible that she can't help herself. Yes, Diana, I wanted to also mention that scene after the bachelorette party where Theo and Summer are at the coffee house and Phyllis was sitting in the back patio watching them. And I got the impression that she was just taking note of who her daughter might be hanging around with. But now that you say this, I wonder if there might be something more to it. I can't see Phyllis necessarily just straight up going after Theo to get back at Summer. I think it hurts Phyllis's feelings that Summer is not giving her any sympathy right now. So I don't know. I don't see Phyllis as going after Summer. She could possibly in the future, but yeah, it was an interesting little thing to note. What is Phyllis going to do to either help or hurt that relationship with her daughter now? Astra says, hey Allie, I noticed that you mentioned Adam and Summer having chemistry. Well, they're kind of related, being that they're uncle and niece. I don't know about you, but I don't really want to see an incestuous relationship happen. Oh, Astra, you are so right. I think everyone is related on the show, and it's so hard for me to keep track of it. What was I thinking? Summer and Adam are uncle and niece. Oh boy. Yeah, no, I mean, now that I remember that, no, I wasn't implying that I was like wanting to see that. I just forgot that they were related. Oh, Superplex says Theo wants to ruin Kyle's engagement. How about picture this? Summer exacts revenge by sleeping with an inebriated Kyle in the aftermath of a wild bachelor party. All of this, of course, will be recorded on the bane of the 21st century, the ubiquitous cell phone. This is an interesting scenario. This would be a classic soap scenario, right? Kyle goes to his bachelor party, gets completely wasted, probably with Theo pouring the drinks, sleeps with Summer, and then it completely destroys the wedding with Lola. I could definitely see that happening. Definitely I could see it happening and being recorded on a cell phone. I also have to say, is this me showing my age? Am I getting old? Or is it a little annoying how often Y&R relies on text messages to show us the action on the screen? I know I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, but I want to check myself because maybe it's very normal to you. I don't use text messaging, so to me, maybe it's just not as much of a normal part of modern life. and that's why it stands out to me? Or does it feel like a little bit of a cheap trick? Is it Y&R moving forward into the new century that I never got onto? Or is it a little bit of a cheap plot device? What do you think about all of these text messages? Well, Daisy says, panic attacks don't require intervention. Devon got the help he needed and will again at some point. But when Devon told Anna that he stopped taking his meds so that he could feel the losses, she ran to Nate. What makes Anna and Nate the experts on grief? People grieve and move on in different ways at different times. I think Devon should have kicked Anna and Nate out as they were interfering with his healing. But also, I wouldn't be surprised if Anna has been drugging Devon to make him look unstable so that she can take his company. She may not be the kind, concerned sister that she portrays. She could be quite the opposite. Ooh, it's so funny that you would mention that, Daisy, because also Tony had mentioned, I think that Anna, I always want to say Anna, I think that Anna is slow poisoning Devon. Tony says he's been treated for anxiety, so no one is questioning his symptoms right now. Anna has been commenting a couple of times that he hijacked her business and her personal space in the past. Maybe Mariah will figure it out. I think she has a sleuthing mind. Ooh, so we have more than one person here thinking that maybe Anna might be doing a little something nefarious to Devon. Who is the beneficiary of Devon's estate? He does not have any children. He is not married. So his closest next relative would either be Lily or Anna. Who would stand to benefit if something happened to Devon and his considerable fortune, which has been mentioned many times lately? It's interesting. I don't know if Y&R would go there unless they're wanting to get rid of the character of Anna, but anything's possible. Let's switch over here to talk about Mariah. Bon says Mariah, who's actually the head of Power Communications, has never even had an introduction on what she's going to do. Never been to the office once. Devon just dumped her in a huge role in a job with no briefing, no training, no nothing. Hey, I'm still glad that even in the short scenes they're showing Mariah and Tessa as a couple who uplifts and positively supports each other. I'm still glad though that even though they're short scenes, they're showing Mariah and Tessa as a couple who uplifts and positively supports each other. I noticed that too about Mariah's job training though. She was editing Tessa's video and not really sure what the next step was. She's the head of an entire PR company. There have got to be so many other employees who work at Power Communications that are so ticked off right now that this random former TV host is heading up their company, not really knowing what she's doing. I mean, the company is Power, and Mariah is giving me Clueless. Oh, I bet there are some gossiping. There's some gossiping going on at the water cooler right now at Power Communications about the new boss who don't know what she's doing. She edited the video. I don't know. I mean, post it to Facebook or Twitter or something. Good thing she has Anna to help her out with that. Oh, let's talk about the poll question from last week. I asked you guys if you liked seeing all of our live musical performances on the show, or if you felt like Y&R was breaking into song a little bit too much right now. 68% of you were not loving the music, feeling like it's a little too much. There was still a pretty vocal minority, 32%, who felt like it was a good balance on the show right now of music and story. Let's read some of the comments. Tina Cole says, I voted that I want fewer musical performances. I enjoy the odd song, but more as a montage at the end of the show where they show an overview of other characters in a scene with the song playing overhead. Yes, Tina Cole, I really like that too, when the song comes in at the end of the show and it just ties in these stories that weren't necessarily connected, and it creates a nice little ending for the show. Anna says, I'm fast forwarding through all of the musical performances, and I'm sure sometimes it's almost a complete episode. I know, I used to want to do that too. TB84 says, I don't mind it. It's actually nice to see and experience their talents. Plus, sometimes the songs really fit in certain episodes, I must say. So for me, it's the right amount, I guess. Oh, but Laura says, no thank you. Music preference is so personal that trying to hit average means bland, run-of-the-mill lyrics and melody. That's a good point, that music is a very personal choice, a very personal taste, and there is a wide variety of musical tastes. So in order to have the music have the most broad appeal, it tends to be more bland, and maybe that's what is making it unappealing to some folks. That's a good point. Shakona says, maybe we need to keep it at a maximum of once a week. I enjoyed the some kind of special song. I just want some time to let the songs marinate a bit instead of throwing them all in at once. Well, speaking of marinating on the songs, I kind of like that they've reused some of Tessa's songs more than once. I like when Y&R repeats the music. I don't want to see an outfit twice on the screen. I want the fashion to always be fresh, but I like when I know a song and it comes on and it's like a cue to me that a certain emotional response is going to be evoked. So yeah, just speaking of repeating, or marinating on a song, I like it that, I like it when I know the music. And in a case like Tessa's, since she is a recording artist, you do get a sense of, oh, I know that's Tessa's song, which is kind of cool. Maybe in that way it's not quite as successful with Anna and Jet. Well, but then again, Jet's a recording artist, or he's a musician, and we haven't really heard as much of his music. They gave us a whole backstory about his history and his #1 hits and everything, but we've only seen him do duets with Anna. Gary says, ultimately it comes down to the time spent and how often this device is used. In the recent past, I've observed that given the music business storylines, Y&R is actually quite reserved in the uses of their actors singing. Rarely would Tessa finish a song. She would start one and then they'd fade out and then come back as she was wrapping it up. Applause, applause from the extras. This is true, though, Gary, that the music on the show, and maybe this is why I like it, it is tied into the story because there's a music business behind it. In the past, there wasn't necessarily. It was just some kid popping up to sing a song on Memorial Day or something, or Amazing Grace at a funeral, and maybe that didn't feel as organic. In this case, I think that I personally think that Y&R has done a good job of, as you say, tying it into the music business storyline. Marianne says, I can do without it. I would recommend limiting it to holidays or special events, though, similar to the Nurses' Ball on General Hospital. This way, the viewers who enjoy it can look forward to those episodes, and those that don't can DVR or skip them. Since we live in a social media / digital music era, I wish they would also consider having a brief sample and promoting a music website during the middle part or the end of the show, like Catch This Song and others like it on a certain music website or app or CBS or YouTube. Ooh, good idea. And Marianne says also on that note, maybe the CBS website should make all of Traci's novel scenes available, or CBS should edit an episode to air on holidays or as a standalone episode for when a bulletin interrupts or delays and the Friday cliffhanger, delays the Friday cliffhanger, so it is planned for the next week. I like both of those ideas. I do think Y&R could do a better job of pointing us to where we can go to get not only the music on the show, but the fashion on the show, or like you said, giving us some kind of bonus content. I've noticed that Global TV out of Canada does a much better job of giving bonus Y&R content. They seem to actually edit some special things together for the show, and CBS.com doesn't really do that. I don't know why, but I love your idea. And Ambreen says, I agree with you on Traci. I want that novel to be real so that I can buy it. Many years ago, Ambreen says, there was a book titled Passions based off of a soap opera of the same name. I bought the book. Y&R should do something similar. I know that fans would buy it, and it could even grow the viewing audience. I've never heard of the Passions book. What's it about? Is it fiction about the show, or oh my goodness? You know, I don't think people buy as many novels these days, but I would definitely buy a new Y&R book. If a Y&R book came out in any form, I would buy it. If a Y&R movie came out, I've often said that, if a Y&R movie came out, I would see it, even if it was just a direct DVD release. If a Y&R time capsule thing came out where they gave even just a select dozen episodes and just released it on DVD or as a digital download, I would buy it. It just seems like they don't do a whole lot of merchandising beyond the daily show. I'm sure they just don't have the resources for it. I mean, they tried doing the makeup thing years ago, the Jabot cosmetics. I remember Anna was telling me about that at one point. And yeah, I think that Y&R probably has limited people working on it. And at this point, their audience is not quite as strong as they used to have. But I would be there. I would be there with my dollars. They could take my money. I would most certainly buy a Y&R book. Oh, let's get, I love Sandra's comment here about Traci and Kane. I think this may be the first time in my life that I'm using this phrase, but Kane and Traci's kiss seemed organic. It was short, but long enough to cross a line, and it was filled with genuine admiration. Admiration is a great other word for it too, because it was just Kane looking at Traci and saying, it doesn't matter to me how old you are, what your body type is, none of that matters. I see through you, I see into you, I admire what you're doing, I'm inspired by you, and it's just like, as you say, organic. It was just like two souls drawn to each other, and that's why I think it worked. I wonder if I maybe should have done another poll on that for this week, because I do wonder if more people were pulled in to Kane and Traci's relationship, or if people were still not loving it, because the original poll question that I did, the majority of people didn't want it, and I wonder if that's still the case. I want it more than ever. Ooh, a little bit of casting gossip. Leslie says Jessica Collins, who plays Phyllis's sister Avery, made the below post to Instagram hinting at a possible return to Y&R, although it could also be the 90210 reboot or Grey's Anatomy as well. I don't see where Y&R is getting all the money to pay for all these people with or without her. But the post was as follows from Jessica Collins. All smiles today at work, reprising one of my favorite roles. Love reuniting with this cast and crew, and can't wait to share the details with all of you. Stay tuned. It sounds like it could be her. I know, she just seems like such a gracious person too. I remember that she hired a food truck to come serve the cast on the last day that she was working at Y&R. That's class. You wouldn't have to do that. You could feasibly never see any of these people again. And she was let go sort of suddenly. And I think it was when a new regime took over too. So I quite like her. I quite like the character of Avery. I liked her cooking show. She must actually be a chef or something because she hired the food truck. But yeah, I liked her. I liked her relationship with Nick and with Dylan. Gary says Avery Bailey Clark is returning. married to Dylan. Well, you didn't say that, did you? Yeah, I mean, I remember her and Dylan. I would certainly love to have both of them back on the show, but Steve Burton betrayed us. Got heading back to General Hospital. Is he even on General Hospital anymore? I'm not sure. Maybe he went off and did his own thing. But yeah, if Avery's coming back to the show, that gets a really big thumbs up from me. It seems like it would be a good time for Phyllis's sister to return to the scene. Oh, thank you everybody for being here with me today. I hope you enjoyed our Y&R Chat. I hope you chat back at me this week. YRChat.com is a really good place to leave comments. You can also still call the voicemail, or you can leave comments on social media or send a message, whatever your preference is. That's totally okay with me. This is just the easiest for me. I would probably be writing messages in a Y&R forum online somewhere if I didn't have this. I gotta get it off my chest, and so I want you to have a place to do that too. So feel free to let it rip, and come back next week. We'll chat again about our favorite show. Okay guys, I love ya. Have a really good week. Bye.